So you got a chance to see it. You got a chance to view WandaVision episode 5. Wow. Okay. So yeah, we got to talk about this.
I know we definitely got to talk about it. I want to get your theories because I'm a little lost, not being as knowledgeable with the comics. Like every time I go and like watch like you and other people breaking down, I sometimes get lost in like what the characters are.
Okay.
But who is, and maybe we have to go back and start from the beginning, but who does Rambo become? Like, Rambo is being set up to become a superhero, right?
Yeah, big time.
And I'm assuming it has something to do with her building that machine that she wants to penetrate
well, that's one of the big
thing with.
That's one of the big questions is, who is this engineer that she knows that's going to build this thing for her? Yeah. So now, Monica Rambeau in the comic books was the original Captain Marvel, actually. After Marvel succumbed to cancer, that's how the original Marvel died, the Kree. She became the next to gain his mantle, but just his title. She didn't have any of his powers or anything like that. Her power was the ability to transform into any light on the spectrum. She could turn her body into, and she could manipulate as well. And she was like one of my favorite Avengers. I loved her. She was a chairman leading the Avengers for a while there. Her job was she was a police officer in New Orleans.
Okay.
So keeping her a sword agent still keeps that police sort of background, while at the same time bringing it into what's going on in the MCU right now. So she first appeared in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, her friend's little girl, the daughter. And so now they've rushed her forward. But, you know, that's another thing is, why did she act so cold when Wu...
Yes, that was one of my questions.
Yeah.
What kind of relationship did they have that made that reaction happen?
I mean, she seemed to have a really good relationship with her. They got along well. I mean, she was introduced to aliens. She got to hang out with an alien in her own house because of her aunt, you know. So who knows what that'll happen. But, yeah, you picked up on that very very quick.
Does it have something to do with the mother, you think?
Maybe.
Like the fact that, I don't know, like
something bad happened. I mean, we know so little of what Captain Marvel was doing between the time that she came back to Earth with Stark, and then she went back again. She left and went to space, and even the time, I mean, apparently that was the only time she was back to Earth. As far as we are led to believe so far, the only time that Captain Marvel was back on Earth since that first happened to her was the Captain Marvel movie. So I don't see a lot of time for there to be drama going on with Marie Rambeau and Captain Marvel. So I don't know, but that's a really good question. I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, that was really quick.
Definitely picked up. I mean, I love some of the visuals, like her coming out of the hex.
Oh, that looked great.
Thing.
Oh,
that was so powerful.
I loved it. Yeah,
but,
and even you know, I saw a picture that had gotten released earlier in the week, and there was a lot of conjecture on who is that coming out. Is that Vision? A few people thought it was Wanda. I did, but I thought she was dragging a body behind her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's interesting, but is she really controlling all this?
Well, I love the fact that she made it a point to Vision to tell him that, you know, I'm not in control of these people. I don't control what they do with their lives. And then go back a previous episode, the look on her face after she blasted Monica out of her reality. It was like someone waking up from a dream, you know. So something's going on in her mind. My original idea was possession, and I'm still kind of going with that, but I have a little tweak on it now. I think the possession is happening via a mental breakdown. I think Wanda has split personality syndrome, whatever it's called right now. I don't mean to be insensitive, but I think that's kind of what's going on in her head, that with everything that happened to her, the loss of her parents, the loss of her brother, the loss of her lover at her hands, the resurrection of her lover, and death in front of her eyes again, what happened in Lagos, in Captain America Civil War, all these things are just like building up on her so much that it caused this crack. And I think when the crack was formed in her personality, that's when this other figure, I still maintain is Nightmare, came into her mind, so to speak, and set things in motion that are happening now.
Okay. Because one thing I think about is that moment where Vision manages to sort of get through to his coworker.
Norm.
He's like, oh my god, yeah. And he says, you have to stop her. But we don't know if her
bingo
is Scarlet Witch.
So that's what I think too. So who's your guess as to who her is if it's not Wanda?
Either Agatha or the blonde woman that we haven't seen again.
And what did Agatha say about her? Agnes.
She runs the town. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember specifically, but the idea is that she controls everything.
She runs the whole town. I think that might be exactly what Agnes said.
Tell me your thoughts about the mailman. What's going on with the mailman?
The mailman? I've given no thought to the mailman, tell you the truth. Other than the fact in the sense of the people in the town themselves. So he's a regular townie. Whether he's a mailman in his real life or not is completely, I think, irrelevant to his situation right now. He has been cast. And I love the way Darcy said that later near the end of the episode about Pietro. He's been cast in the role of the mailman. He could be the mayor for the town in real life as far as we know. But like everyone else, though, he seems to acknowledge, right, that Wanda is in control of things. Like when he says to the boys, oh, your mom won't let him get far.
Yeah. They know what's going on.
But I think they think she's in more control than she really is. They don't know. My theory kind of hinges also on the fact that they don't know that there's someone manipulating her. So they do think 100% that it's Wanda. Now, let me ask you something. Did you catch that moment with Hayward, with Sword Commander Hayward? Did you catch that moment when Jimmy Woo is giving him a breakdown on Wanda and he interrupts him and says, hey, doesn't she have a code name, a nickname?
Right.
And Jimmy's like, no, and he's looking a little almost unbelievable a little bit. That look on his face is like are you sure she...
Something.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Okay, so a lot of people think that Hayward is somebody, that he's not Hayward, that he's Mephisto or Nightmare or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, I think regardless of specifically who he is, he knows something. And I think... Okay, let me disregard what I just said.
Yeah.
I think he is either Mephisto or Nightmare. Now, part of the reason I say that is because last time Darcy, I always want to call her Marcy, Darcy said that the WandaVision show was tied in literally with the very background radiation of the Big Bang itself, the moment of creation in the universe. So I think that leads directly to somebody whose own energy is that of the Big Bang, is that of creation, somebody who was created at the moment. And I think that is Mephisto.
Okay.
I think Mephisto is I still think, and I've said this before, Mephisto is the ultimate villain over the series, just like Thanos was. So Thanos was the villain in the first Avengers movie, but he wasn't the villain. He was the mastermind. They didn't fight him. They didn't know of his existence. I think that's what's going on here. I think Mephisto is going to be the overarching villain for the first half, if not more, of Phase 4. Now, check this out. This is what we're getting at. I think that Mephisto, as a character, there is only one. What I mean by that is throughout the entire multiverse, there are multiple Doctor Stranges on each world.
Yeah.
There's multiple Caps, blah, blah, blah. There is only one Mephisto who exists simultaneously in all realities because he is the seed core of all evil. If not the seed core of it, there was one time years ago in Marvel Comics, he was stated that as long as there's any evil thought in the universe or one evil person, then he is in existence. So now check this out. If that is correct, and he is the one and only multiversal Mephisto,
Right.
he is, for some reason, I don't know why, he is picking and choosing the multiverse apart for some reason, I think. So now Wanda was very straightforward in telling her kids that she cannot bring the dead back to life.
Yeah, but it's, okay, I thought that was strange.
Yes, and I think it matters twofold. I think, first of all, in order to let the audience and everyone else know that Vision is not back alive. She does not have the power to do that, which is why she saw his corpse in her moment of lucidity, let's call it. So she can't bring the dead back. Now the boys, the boys are another topic on their own, Tom, I think. The boys were asking her about her brother, their Uncle Pietro, who is, she said, far, far away because he's dead.
Yes.
So
and
now, if she...
almost as if she's thinking about it for the first time.
Right? Like she's coming out of something.
Yeah.
So now, if she can't bring the dead back to life, like she said, and Mephisto, Nightmare, wants to keep her happy, and her brother will keep her happy, he can't bring him back from the dead. But what he can do is grab another Pietro from a nearby multiverse. And he had his mind rewritten like everyone else in WandaVision. But this, not only is this Evan Peters, I predict that this is the actual Evan Peters Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. Now, that also goes into my prediction of who the big surprise is. Just earlier this week, Elizabeth Olsen in an interview said that there is a Mark Hamill level guest appearance at the end of the season. So check this out, Tom, if I am correct. If there is one Mephisto, if he took Pietro from this nearby reality because he can't raise the dead himself and he wants to keep Wanda happy, so he stole this Quicksilver for her, rewrote his mind. Let me ask you a question, Tom. You've read comic books your life. You've watched movies. You've played comic book role-playing games with me. Let me ask you a question. What the hell would happen if we sat down for a gaming session and at the start of the session I told you, I said, Tom, Anthony and Ryan's character disappear out of the universe? You're going to want to know where the hell they are. Yeah. This is now the plot, Tom. So if my prediction is correct, that means that either or both of Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen are going to be the oh shit level guest stars at the end, because this is the way I see the scene in my head. They realize that their Quicksilver has been stolen from their reality. Charles and whatever, maybe Cerebro or whatever, go looking for him. With the help of the other X-Men, maybe Magic, who knows, maybe Wanda in their universe, they find where their Pietro is. Magneto almost kills himself, maxing out his powers to literally use the electromagnetic field to push his reality open into theirs so they can go save their teammate who is kidnapped.
Okay. Wow. That is a mind blower. I mean,
whoa.
It makes complete sense. It can totally happen.
I could have written that story.
I know, my God. That's okay. Okay, that's very interesting.
Now we know Cumberbatch is well, we don't know. No, it has never been 100% verified, but allegedly we know that Cumberbatch is making an appearance as Doctor Strange. I think it's going to be the end credit scenes because they've also just recently admitted that at the end of the episode, the final episode will have an end credit scene, just like the movies. That's where I think Doctor Strange is.
Okay.
Now, also consider the fact that Hollywood has already admitted, the studio has already admitted that Milano's octopus, Doc Ock, is back for Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And what's his name is back as Electro. Why am I drawing a blank? The award-winning actor. It was back as Electro.
Oh, yeah,
so we know for a fact that alternate universe villains from alternate universe MCUs, so to speak, are going to be coming in. More reason to believe we are going to... Now, maybe it won't be Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen. Maybe it'll be the younger versions of them. But I think the really big oh shit moment would be them. That would top Mark Hamill's appearance.
You're right. Oh, man.
Well, there's actually one thing that would top that.
What?
If you see the other X-Men behind them through the portal at their world standing ready.
I'm wondering if Jackman is going to come back.
A number of years ago, he did famously tweet that he would come back to the role if he could be an Avenger. So let's see if that's still true.
Can you imagine? And I have heard rumors that they're keeping the actors currently playing Punisher, which I'm very happy about. But they're retconning him. And I don't know any of the details behind that.
And Charlie Cox, allegedly, they're bringing over also as Daredevil. Now, a few months ago, Vincent D'Onofrio, who you know I absolutely love, Vincent D'Onofrio was tweeting, this was shortly after the Joker movie, he was tweeting that Marvel needs to make a Kingpin movie.
He would be a good Kingpin.
He's the best actor to have played Kingpin so far out of the few iterations that they've had on the screen.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I was hoping that the next season he was going to just, and I know it's going to sound weird, but I was hoping that he would just toughen up a little bit. I mean, he is a super tough guy in the show, but he's also a little bit of a pussy.
Yeah.
And he's not like that at all in the comics. So I was hoping that they were eventually building to that. But that would ultimately be built to when his wife gets murdered, or in the comic book she was like put in a coma or something that she was never able to wake up. And that's like the moment that really snapped him to like the levels of hell. You know, don't screw with this guy. There was no more wussy in him whatsoever.
I always like the villains who aren't superheroes. They're always the most interesting.
Well, there's a lot of big rumors going around for Doctor Doom now. There's a rumor that he's going to be the main antagonist in Black Panther 2. It's going to be a sort of war that Atlantis is that Wakanda's going to be in with Atlantis, and Doom is going to get involved. They're going to be retconning some of Doom's past back into the MCU now if they have the rights for him. But they are apparently adamant that we will see him on the big screen before the FF.
Now, why do you think they're going this way? Why are they weaving everything together instead of just starting whole cloth? They don't need to do this. Why are they doing it?
So you mean like why aren't they just starting from scratch again now that they have the rights?
X-Men, new Wolverine, they just recast everything.
I think they're going to. I think there's going to be something that happens during Phase 4, not just in WandaVision, but going across the movies, especially with Doctor Strange. I think we're gonna see a lot of them. We're gonna see a lot of the classic movie X-Men like Jackman, but they're going to be in smaller appearances. I think by the end of this whole thing, which will probably be Doctor Strange 2 at the end of that movie, the only way that reality is going to be fixed is going to be patchwork. And I think that that's going to open up the road, so to speak, that we are going to be able to cast new actors for them because these aren't the same ones from the other universe. We've recognized them though, so you're going to know something about them. Even though they're different, you'll know enough about them coming into us, I think is the way it's going to go.
That's interesting. Like, there's just a familiarity.
Because, there's no way that they can shoehorn in the X-Men's continuity into the MCU. Because there'll be, like, way too many questions why this is going on. You know, where were they during Civil War? Where was Stark during Magneto's attack or something? There's a lot of questions that are raised. That they did not exist together. So the only thing they can do is somehow, like, melding the world. What they have to do is they have to pull a Crisis on Infinite Earths from DC.
Interesting.
Marvel is going to beat DC to the movie punch doing this. Because that's the only thing that they can do to shoehorn in the other franchises without just starting everything over from scratch. So we're going to see incorporations of some of those actors coming over to Marvel, maybe but playing different actors. One of my original thoughts a couple of weeks ago was that that Evans was not going to be playing Quicksilver, but he was going to be playing an adult version of her son Speed. I was like, you know, he's in his late 20s, but he could kind of pass for younger. He's got a little bit of a baby face, and they could still go that route, that he ends up growing up and looking like this alternate version of his uncle.
That's interesting.
But it's also interesting they said that the dead can't come back, because I was really, really hoping that the Aaron Taylor Pietro would come back to the MCU.
Me too. I liked him.
Now,
but I also like this guy.
Now, well, this guy, he acts actually more like Speed, the way he portrays Quicksilver in the movie, because Quicksilver is a very hyper dude. And in the movie Quicksilver, the Sony movies, the Fox movies, he was portrayed as like a slacker kind of guy.
Yeah.
And that's more like Speed's attitude.
That's interesting.
Everyone loves his special effects better than what Marvel did. But I have one huge problem with that any of the scenes with Evan Peters' Quicksilver. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you just did it. You pointed, you just fixed your earbud, right? That's it. The music that he plays. He is moving so fast, the music is still playing at real speed. He wouldn't hear anything but a beep.
Yeah.
He would hear like one note.
Yeah. That's a good point. I actually never thought about that, but you're absolutely right.
Okay, now what else did you want to talk about?
I wanted to see where you thought the next episode was going.
Okay, logically speaking, the next episode is Call in the Avengers. But they're not going to go that route because this isn't an Avengers TV show. But let's be honest. At this point, they should be calling in Doc Strange right now, not waiting to the end. They should be notifying... I don't know. Who should they be notifying? Actually, here's a good question. Are there any Avengers right now?
Black Widow, maybe.
Black Widow's dead. Vision's dead. Thor's off-world. Captain America's old. Iron Man's dead. So we have Bucky and we have Falcon, but they're going off on their own television show, so they're not really being a team. They're being a team up, a buddy show. Who else do we got that's still alive then?
Thor, but he's gone.
He's off-world. Black Panther is an unusual situation.
Yeah. There was one other thing I wanted to ask you. But wait, you wanted to keep going like this would be the point that they would call it the Avengers.
I mean, definitely. And I was actually talking about it, and if they did go this route, I think the only logical Avenger that they could call in is Hawkeye. Because Hawkeye was the first one to really befriend her during the Age of Ultron storyline. If you go out that door, then you're an Avenger. He became very quickly, and to a small degree, almost a father-like figure to her, at least in that moment.
In that moment, yeah.
He's the only one that I think would have a connection to her anymore. Banner's alive, but he has no connection to her. He barely has a connection to Ultron. Even though he partly helped made him, he doesn't really have a connection to him, really. Stark and Ultron did all the work.
Okay, that's true. Now that you mentioned that, you're absolutely right.
Now, what about the boys? Now, Monica pointed out, she was very specific to point out that the boys were real, that she didn't alter them or mind control them in any way. And then
she can't control them.
No! She tried to use her magic to put them to sleep, and just like the stork, when she was pregnant, she couldn't control them.
Yeah, that's true. She couldn't make the stork disappear.
And then the boys are aging on their own, and they have this weird... Did you pick up the weird Children of the Corn vibe that the twins have?
Like they are like connected, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
But more than that, it's like they're in on something. They know something that Wanda doesn't know. That's the feeling I'm getting from these two creepy kids.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll rewatch it with that in mind, see if I pick up any of that. But the kids are such an interesting...
Now, in the comic book storyline originally, whenever Wanda would not be thinking of them, if she went off to fight with the Avengers or something, she'd come back and, like, her kids are missing. And she'd be like, what do you mean the kids are missing? And she goes into the baby's room and the babies are there. Whenever she wasn't thinking about them, they didn't exist.
Really?
What are these people in the town doing when she's not in visual view of them? Are they existing? And if so, are they like active? Are they like in a stasis or something until she needs them in the storyline?
You know what? That would make sense because there's that moment in the trailer where Agatha is in her car and she's not moving or anything.
That's
and
next week.
Comes and sort of activates her.
And yeah, then just like he did with Norm. And she says, are you here to save? Oh, she says, am I dead? Why would you say? Because you're dead. And the original cutscene went to her laughing, but there's another trailer where she says, well, you here to help us? You're the Avengers.
Oh, interesting.
And the theory that's been flying around that Agnes is the one secretly in control of this, I can't believe whatsoever, because she has too much fear in her. Every time something isn't right, she is definitely afraid of something, consequences, but from who?
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's editing the show? It's not Wanda. I'm convinced.
Oh, it's not?
I'm convinced it's not Wanda doing the editing. I don't think she even knows about the shows being edited. She may know about the show going out, but she doesn't know about the editing. And another thing I noticed was when Jimmy Woo first got on the scene, and he's like, who are these missing people in town? Let's find them. Let's identify all these people. The one thing he didn't do is say to everyone on the team, who's this director? Who's this producer? Who's this script writer? Me personally, I would think you go to the production team before you go to the stars to find out what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And they've completely ignored the fact that there are names right there given to them. Now, in real life, these are the real names of the producers, I found out. It's weird because there's different names at the end of the show, but those are corresponding to different credits. Okay. And I didn't get that at first. But it doesn't matter that they're the real creators. Jimmy Woo and Darcy and the rest of them are seeing these names on the screen. Why are you not like, find this director, contact this director, would be the most direct route, I would think. And they completely ignored that. And Dottie is not on the board. Why?
Oh.
Agnes is, and they have no information on her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the only one that doesn't have a driver's license.
You want to hear another glitch? This may be a production mistake. It might be. But with Marvel, you never know.
Careful.
So when they first put the pictures on the board 2 episodes ago, or last episode, I can't remember now. But when Jimmy Woo first was putting everything up on the board, you can get a close-up of some of them, and you get a close-up. I've read this. I've seen this on Norm. Yeah. And in Norm's description, now remember, this is a prior episode to Vision waking him up. And in their already existing file that is up on the board, it says that when Vision awoken Norm from his, I forgot how it was phrased, but from his mental illusion, he wanted to know about the health of his father and his sister. And then that doesn't happen to an episode later. So is that a production mistake? Did they just put this up not thinking about looking at what it actually said in the timetable of the show, or did this already happen and everything got reset?
Oh, that's interesting. We've seen that happen in a few occasions.
But like everything all the way back to the beginning, not just a few seconds to change the beekeeper. Which, by the way, what happened to him? What happened to Agent Franklin?
I've heard rumors that he's going to become Swarm.
That'd be interesting. He's a really shitty character, villain, but I've always loved him. I've always loved Swarm. I think his first appearance was in a Spider-Man, because he's just bones. The bees animate the bones. It's funny.
That's hilarious. Now, you have some thoughts about who this, the designer that's going to build this machine that's supposed to be able to penetrate the hex.
The big rumor that's been going around, and I completely say it's BS, is that she's going to contact Reed Richards. This is not how they're getting them in. No, I don't think so. And I think they've already set up, I think I remember, I didn't catch it, but I remember watching an Easter egg video where they have already set up the fact that there are some astronauts, there are 4 astronauts in space that are, like, something happened because of the snapback, you know? So I think at this point, they're already in space. Yeah, see, my theory is pretty much the same thing as yours, but instead of space, I'm going with the quantum realm. But otherwise, I don't see any other difference in the way you've heard and think it's going to go on me, other than the placement of it. So no, I don't think that's the case. It could be Banner, because she's talking about building something to withstand a lot of different types of radiation. Even though she doesn't mention gamma, she is talking about shielding from radiation. So Banner might be an interesting choice. Maybe she's talking about Nick Fury. He's not an engineer, but he would know someone. Right. For a split second, I thought it was going to be Juggernaut. Oh, just because he could run through the wall and not be stopped? Yeah, but then I'm like, no, that doesn't track. No, I don't think they're going to go that route. No. I think that I don't know who's the engineer is going to be. If they don't, because there's no one I can think of. What? No, she doesn't know Shuri. I mean, Shuri could do it. Black Panther's sister. But Monica, as far as we know, Monica doesn't know her. Interesting. But that'd be an interesting, little revisit, seeing Shuri on the monitor saying, here are the specs, I'm sending it over or something. That could be cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, in the comic books, also, when she created the boys, not only did they not exist when she wasn't around and thinking of them, but when later, during the West Coast Avengers storyline, they found out that the boys weren't even real. That they were spirits. They were part of a fractured soul of this sorcerer called Master Pandemonium. But then it later turned out that Master Pandemonium was a pawn of Mephisto. And the boys were actually fragments of Mephisto's own soul. And then the boys had to disappear. And I don't know Wiccan and Speed's origin, really. But something happened where they showed up a few years, years later down the line. Because this storyline happened in the 80s, the late 80s. And then they appear in the early 2000s as teenagers, and it turns out, oh, these are the same babies that Wanda had, and I never followed that storyline, so I don't know how they became real, but they did become unreal when it was found out they were Mephisto's soul. So what if you take out Master Pandemonium, because who the hell is he?
Yeah.
A one-shot villain for this series? Yeah, you could do a one-shot villain, but why? The audience is really getting tired of one-shot villains. We see in one movie, and then they get killed. We never see him again. So, to hell with Master Pandemonium. Again, going back to my theory, make it Nightmare. Another demon that has worked with Mephisto before, and sometimes it has been argued he is a pawn or a servant of Mephisto, and he too dates back to the origin of the universe. The very first creature that could think and dreamt, he came into existence.
That's interesting.
But the boys, the boys' souls have to be someone. They have to be someone. I mean, where did they get these souls from for Wanda to make into these bodies? So again, I'm thinking that they are taking from this whole Mephisto storyline about the kids. It makes sense. And the kids are like barely good characters. And I don't mean from the actors or anything. I mean, they always seem like they're up to something. Oh, now here. No.
Yeah.
Going back to Hayward, possibly being Mephisto and Nightmare, the one and only in all the multiverse, he would know, if he is from like the 616, well, he's been from all of them, so he would know that Vision used to have a dog named Sparky, which kind of got forced onto the family. And in the comic book, Sparky got poisoned to death.
Really?
This is mirroring exactly.
The entire storyline is connected to a comic.
Because the character pulling the strings, that's the only story they know. Mephisto or Nightmare, they're using the story from their universe, their 616, because that's the tale they know. They know what made Wanda happy then, and they're going back and trying to pull things out to make her happy now. But why? Why do they need children? Why do they need children, Tom?
I don't know.
That's what's got me. I don't understand the reason for the plot. Even if I'm 100% right on this being the plot, I still have no idea why.
We're just going to have to wait. I can't wait. The Fridays can't get here.
So next week, you're asking me what I think is going to be happening next week. At this point right now, based mostly on the trailers, right? We're going to see the Halloween episode, which is the first time we're going to see other children, too. And this is something going back to my very first video. I was screaming about, where are the children? There are no children. Which Vision finally brought up. And if you notice, now that Vision brought up the fact that there's no children, what do we see next episode? Children everywhere. So we're going to see the Halloween episode. That's where we're going to see Agnes break down to Vision. Where, if we're lucky, we might learn exactly who Agnes is. I'm still betting she's Agatha Harkness.
Yeah.
Now, in this episode, she talked about her libido. Did you catch that? What was
that?
When she was putting the babies to sleep, and she's like, what did she say? It was lavender or oleander or something. And she's like, oh, it calms you down. Ralph's always using it on me. And then even Wanda's like, oh, it's just her crazy libido. Now, in the comic book, remember my oldest theory. My oldest theory was that the members of the town were the Salem 7. The Salem 7 are all Agatha's children. A libido. All these children. And she said, children, you can't control them. Was she just talking about Wanda's 2 kids? Or was she talking about her children, the Salem 7, that somehow initiated all of this? They are the cause of this. They initiated Mephisto or Nightmare for some plot, something which he turned into his own advantage, and that's what brought them here.
That's interesting. Oh, that's awesome.
And the date, now somebody else, another YouTuber brought this up to me. Was it June 21st or something? In the very first episode, The black and white, she says, oh, Ralph would only remember June 21st. Only remember our anniversary of June 21st was the name of a beer. That's the date of the Salem witch trials.
Yes, I heard about that. Wow, so okay, you may have zeroed in on something there.
And I'll tell you, still to this day, no one, I've watched a bunch of dudes and ladies, none of them have once mentioned the Salem 7, except right here, Tom. You and me have talked about this possibility. No one else but us has. If this comes true, awesome. I am shoving these videos down everyone's throats.
You've got to somehow put that in the title. The Salem 7 Theory WandaVision.
Then I'm shoving down your throats.
The shoving down.
The shoving.
Oh man, that's like a tongue twister.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that the whole Salem 7 thing, maybe I was completely off base. But now, after this episode, with her crazy libido, she says you can't control children. It's for the children. It's for the children. Tom, what if it's for the children has nothing to do with Wanda's 2 kids specifically? This is all for her children. The Salem 7 for the children.
Oh my God.
Dude.
This is going to be crazy.
You know, and the Salem 7 are such a minor villain group. But they're one of the minor villain groups I really love. And I think that's another reason why I'm pushing. I would love to see some sort of live-action iteration of them.
When did they come about? Like, what era of the comic?
It was the late 60s, early 70s. I forgot the issue number. I looked it up and I talked about it in another episode. But it was a Fantastic Four episode. She was brought on to be the governess or the nanny, the au pair for their son Franklin Richards, who is like Wanda. He has the ability to alter reality any way he sees fit. So having not just a witch, but the most powerful witch who's been alive since the days of Salem was a pretty good choice to be his nanny. And then several issues later is when the Salem 7 get involved because they come to kidnap her, their mother, because their father, Nicholas Scratch, which is an old-time nickname for the devil, but in Marvel, he wasn't the devil. He was just a sorcerer. But I think this is going to be changed. Has said that we have to get her back because she's out in the real world. She's letting people know about witchcraft. This is verboten. This is against the law. Bring her back. She has to stand trial. And they kidnap her while she's with Franklin. So they kidnap Franklin with her. And they decide that Nicholas Scratch decides I'll use the baby for a new vessel. I'll put my spirit, my soul into him and have a new young vessel. And of course the FF track down their missing son and nanny. And long battle, they end up saving the day. The next appearance I know of was in the Vision Scarlet Witch limited series. And by the end of that, the Salem 7 literally burned her at the stake. But then she came back later on during John Byrne's run when he was doing the Vision Quest storyline, which touched on the children. He explained the whole children's storyline, and she came back, and Wanda's like, "What the hell? You were burned at the stake." And she was like, "Oh, it just took me time to get my body and energy back together, but I'm here now, child, and these kids have to go." Basically, is what it came down to. Yeah. So, I mean, I still see a lot of the Agatha Harkness storylines as very strong possibilities in WandaVision. Everyone is concentrating on the Vision limited series, the Vision Wanda limited, Scarlet Witch limited series, the House of M, Avengers Disassembled, but no one is talking about the Agatha Harkness storyline. And I think that's highly entwined in what's going on.
I think, yeah. I know the way you've laid it out, it seems like there's a few clues that even lead to that.
You know, and part of the fun is figuring all this out. But honestly, I think part of the fun is when you find out you're being wrong as much as being right. It's still a level of fun, I think. And
yeah. I'm loving this series for all the hunting.
And you know the upcoming Falcon Winter Soldier series, part of it is set in Madripoor, which is a city that Wolverine has been involved with since like the 90s. I think they first introduced Madripoor. which isn't even an island. It's like the head of a giant dragon or turtle or something like that in the ocean. It's just so massive. People live on it as a freaking island.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of different routes that we can go, but I am going to stick, officially, I'm going to stick with Salem 7 as her kids, the other people in town. I'm going to stick with Magneto and or Professor X appearing at the very end, being the Mark Hamill level of oh shit factor. And this is going to quite literally open up the entire door to mutants. Speaking of which, technically, her boys are the first mutants in the Marvel Universe because they were born with their powers. Her boys are Mutants 0. Or Tommy is Mutant 0, Billy is Mutant 1.
Holy sugar. Did not even think about
I just thought about that because it just flashed in my mind that I had saw a thumbnail earlier with the Quicksilver, the Evan Quicksilver, and it said first mutant in the MCU, and I was like, no, he's not. The children are. The children were born, and they were born here in the MCU. They're the first mutants. And again, this may be leading to some variation of, instead of Wanda saying no more mutants like she did at the House of M, I still think that there's a possibility, and I'm not alone in this, I know that, but I think there's a possibility that they are somehow going to twist that around to be some sort of version of more mutants. They're going to drop the word no. She is somehow going to allow mutants into the world. Now, here's the last theory. Here's the last theory for you, Tom. It's possible that something has destroyed the home world of the mutants. Their world, this could be what is leading up to the destruction of the world that we saw in the Sentinels movie. And it could be barren, and they could be ready to give up and just come to a new home.
Okay. That's kind of interesting.
It'd be an easy way out for a lot of the writers and the plotters.
Yeah, that's true.
You already have backstory to build on, and if you want a joke, you have fish out of water humor.
Yeah. And it's essentially just kind of flipping a quick switch. All right, everyone's caught up.
But that, again, is saying you want to keep everyone. And we don't know how many of those actors that they want to keep.
Yeah.
I mean, if Hugh Jackman comes over, how long do you think he has? I mean, he's in great shape, but even he said one of the reasons he stepped away from Wolverine was he was really sick and tired of that regimen, that workout regimen to have to do constantly, and he was just tired of it. And who can blame him for it? I mean, God, he put a lot of work into it. So is he going to want to do that again for, another 6 or 7 films over 10 years?
Yeah. Good point.
The other rumor is they could bring him over as Old Man Logan, even though they already killed Old Man Logan over, but that was only in that one multiverse, they could say, right? This is from another multiverse.
Yeah. They've got their tracks covered. They've set themselves up where they can do anything and justify it.
With Chris Evans, there's been a couple of rumors flying around. We know that he is signed on for appearances in movies and MCU products. And so allegedly right now it's come out, 2 of his appearances are apparently in Multiverse of Madness. He's going to be playing Hydra Cap. And in Wolverine, he's going to be playing Captain America in Wolverine. A lot of people are guessing it'll be during like a World War II flashback that Logan was in.
Okay. Yeah, he's still riding that Avengers train.
Yeah. But we have a lot of questions with him, too. Where'd he get the damn shield from? The last time we saw it, the shield was shattered.
I don't know.
This is a theory going into Falcon and Winter Soldier, is that, what was the guy's name? His grandson, Brady, is on the new Avengers. This is right when I stopped collecting. But it turned out that there was a Captain America before Steve Rogers. They had tested everything on an African American. But because he was African American at the time, they weren't going to use him as promotion. So this guy was Captain America before Captain America. So right now, one of the theories is that's where Cap got this shield, that it's that dude's shield. The original shield.
Oh, that's an interesting story to tell, man.
And we're going to see what Loki touches on this, too, because Loki is allegedly going to be touching on some Mephisto stuff. There's one shot in the trailer that's been released where there's a stained glass, like a church stained glass window in the background, and it clearly shows the figure of a devil. Everyone says it looks exactly like Mephisto. I don't think it looks exactly like Mephisto. It actually looks more like a tarot card devil than anything else. But they're saying that that's showing that Mephisto is going to be in there. But if he is going to be winding through Phase 4, we are going to expect to see him pop up in places.
Yep, I agree.
What do you... Okay, so episode 6, we keep bouncing around this. We're going to get more information from Agnes. I think Vision is... Okay, we see him trying to get through the shield. We see that in the trailer for episode 6. He's screaming at them, these people need help. And then he gets yanked back. Wanda can't bring back the dead, Tom. So who the hell is that?
I don't know.
It's Jimmy Woo's missing person.
Who is?
Simon Williams. Simon Williams is a millionaire who was put out of business by Stark, actually. And in the comic books, Baron Zemo gave him powers of super strength, super invulnerability in order to fight the Avengers. But just like Ultron, just like Vision, he flipped on Ultron and ended up helping the Avengers. However, due to a legal battle that DC was having with the fact that we have someone named Wonder Woman, why do you have someone named Wonder Man? The character was put into a coma for months until the trial finally settled, and it was basically said, yeah, this guy is nothing like Wonder Woman, so they can use him.
Yeah.
During this time, while he was in a coma, it was his brain waves that were used by Hank Pym, the comic book creator of Ultron, to give Vision brain patterns. Vision's brain patterns in the comic books are Simon Williams, the Wonder Man. Which is why Vision considers Simon Williams a brother and vice versa. Simon Williams' real life comic book brother is known as the villain Grim Reaper, who was, I believe, given his powers by Baron Zemo also. And he thought it was a travesty that his brother's brain was put inside this robot, and he wanted revenge. I think that Wanda could not bring life back. That is why she knows so adamantly to her children that she cannot create life. She tried with the body she stole of Vision, and it didn't work. She can reset matter. She turned the Kevlar vest into whatever clothes Geraldine needed to wear. So what if she imposed Vision's shell? This is like a robotic version of Leatherface. What if she imposed Vision's shell on a real person in order for it to be alive? And she chose this Simon Williams guy, who she probably didn't know was in witness protection, which is what brought Jimmy Woo and then Sword down upon them.
Okay.
Wanda, what is outside Westview? She said you don't want to know, because death is what is out there. The Vision will die because he is dead out there. And this shell would fall apart. And there would just be Simon Williams. There'd be no Vision.
Okay. All right. This is going to be interesting to see if this plays out. So I'm literally just, I have, it could go so many ways. The story could peel in so many different directions.
In fact, if my theory is correct, I even think that we are going to get a glimpse that there is flesh underneath Vision as he's being torn apart, going through the field, and then gets whipped back by Wanda. I think that there is going to be a hint that there is a person under there.
Okay.
And at that point, at some point, next episode or the episode after that, they have everyone on the board, but they don't have Jimmy Woo's missing person on the board. Even if they haven't seen him in the show, Jimmy knows who this individual is. Where's his picture on the board? They should be looking for him.
Yeah.
They can't find him because his body is covered by Vision's robot corpse shell.
All right.
Wanda went Leatherface. She went complete Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh my God.
Wow. I mean, that's not even a mic drop. That's just like drop the entire bass rig. You know, that's not just a mic.
Has anybody else been talking about this, or this is a Galvin original?
This is a Galvin two-gun Pixie original, as far as I can tell. No one has even mentioned the fact that Vision might be overlaid onto a real person, much less who that real person could be. Tom, this video here, no one has talked about it before us.
Yeah.
They teased Simon Williams in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but the scenes got cut. But he was supposed to be that scene where Ego's form on Earth was starting to grow and take over, and everyone was running like it was the old movie The Blob. There's a movie theater in the background, and there was supposed to be a poster for a movie starring Simon Williams. After he lost his business company, he went into acting and stunts.
Okay.
And in the picture, the actor they had portraying him, Nathan Fillion.
Oh, man. He needs to get him in the Marvel Universe.
Well, he did a voiceover in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. That big alien in the prison that tried to beat up or whatever Quill, and Groot went over and stuck his rooty fingers up the guy's nose. That was Nathan Fillion doing the voice. So,
that's awesome.
So he is in the MCU technically.
Okay, I like that.
They have so much they're trying to bring into this series and the whole MCU in general.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for the next episode. Do we know how many episodes there are total? 9.
Originally it was slated for 8, but they did cutting in some extra scenes or whatever, and it's going to be 9 episodes, but it still only takes place for 8 weeks because episodes 1 and 2 drop together, which I think worked. I think if they dropped them separately, it wouldn't have started the ball rolling.
I agree.
This would never have worked as a movie.
Never.
And they needed to drop the 2 episodes back to back, the first 2, to keep the audience interested enough. And also they knew, because Bettany had said this previously in interviews, that the shows are done in 3 parts. And that each part is separately different from the others. So they knew if they could get us to watch one more episode, which would be episode 3, dropping the 2, that we would get so hooked after we saw 4 and everything went different, we were going to be hooked. And they were right. They're absolutely right. They played it off brilliantly.
Yeah, they played it good. They played it really good.
So that's my predictions for 6. Now, 6 is also going to be... 6. Tom, 6. So if they're breaking it up into 3 parts, this is the mid-finale. You had episode 1, 2, and 3, with 3 being sort of the big change, and then 4, 5, and 6 being different shows. Now with Sword. So something is going to happen at the end of this episode that's going to lead us into something different that we haven't seen yet. We've seen the WandaVision show point of view. We've seen Sword point of view. Tom, this could only mean the villain's point of view, I think.
Yeah.
We have the antagonist's point of view. We have the helpers to the antagonists Also, I mean, protagonist. We have the protagonist point of view, the helpers of the protagonist point of view. That's what we're missing is the villain's point of view. So is it Hayward or is it the man in the commercials?
Well, I don't know. And who's that woman in the commercials?
There's a lot of rumors. A lot of people believe that those are Wanda's parents. You know, maybe that's something, because they changed it. They retconned it in the early 2000s, but for the longest time in the core Marvel comic universe 616, it was established like back in the 70s or 80s, they did a storyline that established that Magneto was the father of Wanda and Quicksilver. Another reason he's going to be the one to come looking for his damn kid.
Yeah.
But oh, I lost my track. I lost my track where I was going with that. Hold on.
Parents.
Oh, yeah. So, how can I put this into words? He is Wanda's father, but another Wanda in another multiverse. Not this Wanda, but this is still Wanda. So there's going to be some parental thing or feeling, right, when he sees her. And that's going to shatter something of her with her parents, because it's almost like an adoption thing. But she wasn't adopted, but in a multiverse sort of way, she's meeting her true lineage.
Yeah, okay. That's an interesting theory. I haven't heard that either. That's another 2GP.
Yeah, that just
original.
Organically came at this very moment.
That's the joy of this show.
I'm a freaking delight, and so are you. That's the joy of this show. But yeah, so 6 then, right? So 7, 8, and 9. These are going to be 7, 8, 9 are going to be completely off the hook. Wow, they're going to make everything else that we thought was off the hook to begin with. Whoa, camera quake. We are going to find out is not off the hook. We're going to find out it's BS compared to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I understand why Paul Bettany said that there's going to be some massive fight scene with CG on the level, or even more so than they had in Endgame. Magic, demons, devils, Mephisto, the Salem 7.
Yeah.
We need a big fight. You're not going to have a big fight with 2 people versus 1 villain, or 2 people and sword, an entire military group versus 1 person.
And it feels kind of relevant in our time to have the main bad guy be the devil.
It's fitting. Apparently,
tapping into something.
Apparently, earlier phase plots that Feige was going over, like in phase 1 and 2, Mephisto was supposed to play a much bigger role in the MCU already. But the main reason they opted against that was the Chinese market. You can't have mention of the devil or demons, apparently, in the Chinese market.
Isn't that also the same for ghosts?
I think I heard Ghost was on that list also. So that was a big problem. In fact, Disney had to pay through the nose for something in Star Wars. I forgot what it was, I heard. But they had to literally pay China through the nose to allow them to have the movie play.
Oh, God. I wonder if it was just like an alien that looked like a demon or something.
But they're ready to bring him in now. I mean, Disney's been kissing that market's butt. And rightfully so, because it is a huge market. But also they've been wanting to bring Shang-Chi into the MCU. Well, I absolutely love. How can you not love a character that is literally based on Bruce Lee? If it wasn't for his success in those movies back then, Stan Lee and the gang, the bullpen, would never have created this character. So he's an amazing character. I like the actor they got to play him. Me and Chris ran through, before this notification even came through, we had already run through and watched all of, I can't remember the name of the darn show. The Canadian sitcom that he's on, Kim's Convenience. We watched all of that. He's good.
Did you think it was funny?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like average sitcom funny up a notch. You know, there wasn't the actors were great. The characters they played were very interesting. Character growth you can see. So that's all cool. You like that in a show. But it really wasn't super above a sitcom. It was just a little bit.
Right.
But the characters are funny. So we kept watching.
That's awesome. Should check that out.
So
get a jump start on him.
So now, you know, we have a much bigger market in China now for Disney because they've opened up a lot of things through the movies, a lot of filming with the characters, hiring Chinese actors. So they may be getting a little more comfortable with letting Disney do a few things.
That's good.
Trying to process all this, man.
Yeah, when you start putting all those pieces together, it well, especially with your knowledge of the Marvel universe.
If I'm not right, my plans could very well still be great concepts in movies.
Yeah. Somebody should hire you to write the next Avengers.
Or at least hire me, you know, to be a fly on the wall. That's fine. I'd be happy just to be a fly on the wall.
Be in the room. Just be. They can turn to you every now and then and just ask your advice.
Every meeting Feige has that has anything to do with the MCU, just let me be that fly. That's all.
Just sit there.
Oh,
maybe occasionally grab a Danish.
There was something else I forgot. Me and Chris got to go back and look at it. So I noticed the end of the credits. I can go back and look at the credits. The end credits, not the credits at the end of WandaVision, but the credits after those roll, and you see the real credits for the show. Right near the very end, when they're international credits, there's a John Galvin there.
Oh, is there? That's hilarious.
I'm positive I saw it. I gotta go back and take a look, but I was like, oh my god, I'm credited.
That's hilarious. Nice. You should go around and just tell everyone. Oh yeah, I was involved.
Oh, I'm telling you, if one of my theories or more turn out to be true, I'm telling everyone, oh, well, I was on the set. There's my name. That's how I know all this. I'm totally going to pretend to be that guy. The guy ends up getting fired all because of me. Oh, it's going to be horrible. He doesn't get any more work in Hollywood because they think he's this big spoiler. Oh, I'm going to ruin this guy's life, but it's going to be so fun.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
So I got to check that out, man. Yeah. I can't wait. Every Friday. And now I know why everyone's bitching why Marvel just didn't drop the whole series. This is why.
Yep.
They got us talking about their product every day until the next episode drops.
It's the wise way to do it. You know why? Because I think so much has to be digested with each episode, too. Like, you need a week for everyone to talk about it and sort of exchange ideas.
There's so much insanity. And I also think they've been ramping up the WTF moments at the end. I definitely think they have. You know, because like this episode, I felt like the WTF moment at first was Vision breaking the credits at the end. You can't control me like everyone else. Oh, can't I? She turns around and the credits roll.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. There's an oh shit moment, a WTF moment. He just breaks through the credits to continue the argument. And then there's the other WTF moment when you see the back of Pietro's head and makeup department specifically went out of their way to make it look like the back of Aaron Taylor's head. But it's not. Surprise! It's Evans. Ha! We got you.
That was such a crazy moment when that happened.
Oh, wait, how did I forget to mention this? Did you catch when Wanda came outside to deal with Sword? She had her accent.
Oh, I did notice that. Yep, I did notice that.
Okay, so I think that might be more evidence to her being either fractured mentally in personalities and or possessed.
Okay.
But now here's the thing. If she's possessed, that accent is her real voice. So she was really pissed off that her perfect little world was disrupted. if my theory is correct, that means that Wanda is happy with what's going on. But it also means that what she said to Vision is true. She's not controlling these people's lives. As far as she knows, none of them are miserable.
Right, right.
That is what the happy American accent Wanda deals with. Mm-hmm. Split personality, possession, I don't know. It's one or the other, I think. All right, it's getting late. We're going to start talking in circles here, I think, soon, brother.
Yeah. No, but this is good. This is a lot to digest, and I'm going to go back on. I'm going to rewatch the episode. Sometimes after talking to you, I get a whole new level of understanding.
Well, if you sit through the entire thing, watch those credits at the end. Like I said, I think they happened when they were doing the international credits is when I saw it. And it flashed by so quick. I was like, oh, that was John Galvin. Well, I thought you're going to find it and you'll be like, no, it was Jack Calvin.
Jack Calvin.
So close. All right.
Man, it was great talking to you. It's great talking to you.
Let's sign off here, brother. I hope everyone enjoyed our conversation because we sure did. Check us out again. There's Big Johnny G and your man Tommy V for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming.